Welcome to today's episode of Critical Mass Radio Show. I am your host, Rick Franzi. Today's guest is Stephanie Paul. She is CEO of Advance Your. And I'd like to thank our sponsors, Center Club, Community Bank, Decision Toolbox, Executives Unlimited, MBN Design, S&H Rubber, Strategic Market Intelligence, Sunup Group, T & Company, Tone Software, Turn Up the Volume, and UPS Protection. The goal for this show is to help you, our listening audience of CEOs who are running middle market firms, to improve your decision-making skills. If you'd like to connect with me, your host, on LinkedIn, I'm Richard Rick Franzi, Franzi. My Twitter handle is CEO Peer Groups. And if you would like to regularly receive our podcasts, our show as a podcast, go into your favorite podcasting software, type Critical Mass Radio Show. You need to type Critical Mass Radio Show, and up will come our show, and you can subscribe to it, and you'll get our show at least once a week, if not up to 2 or 3 times like we're doing this week. We're doing 3 shows here this week, so that way you can stay current with our interesting guests. Speaking of our interesting guests, Stephanie, welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have you here. Let's start by talking about your firm, your brand. What do you do? Why do people pick you? What makes you different?
I am a professional acting, presentation, and speaking coach. I work with anybody who is trying to connect on a professional, business, or corporate level.
Okay.
So some of the people I work with are speakers. Some of the people I work with are professional witnesses in the courtroom, and they just want to get better at getting their opinion across to the jury so that they're not like shaking in their boots. There's really quite a variety of people that I work with. It's not just sort of speakers and acting type things, or people who are on stage presenting or on camera as well.
Okay, so tell me about the name of your brand. What's the origin of Advance Your?
Advance Your. I came up with that because there's so many things that I can help you advance with based on my 24 years of skills. I've been in the industry, film industry, Hollywood, as you could say, entertainment. I started dancing when I was 4. I was doing drama by the time I was 10. By the time I was 16, I was professionally working, and I've worked in 8 countries around the world, and not just in front of the camera, but also behind in many production aspects, writing, directing, producing. And I was a stand-up comedian for 10 years, and I could go, the list could just go on. So there's quite a lot of things that I can advance your in.
Got it. So is it fair to say that your professional training as a performer, as an artist, translates to a public speaker, to an expert witness?
Absolutely.
So there are parallels there?
Absolutely. And it's about connection. And that's the number one thing. So if you go to my website, it says advance your ... connection by mastering your message. And that's pretty much me in a nutshell. So whatever message it is you're trying to get across, whether you're a professional witness and you're trying to communicate with a jury, or whether you're a speaker telling a story on stage, or whether you're a book writer that is going out selling your book, or whether you are a very boring lecturer and you've got a whole bunch of facts and figures that you've got to get out, I can make it sound funny, entertaining, and story-like. So,
and how do you do that?
I basically take the information, and it really depends on the client. So say you've got a PowerPoint, and a lot of people in that sort of arena don't want to let go of their facts and their figures, but I've got to see everything, and I've got to get it all out there, and it's so not true, because most people will fall asleep in the first 30 seconds, or pick up their phone, or check their laundry, or whatever it is that they've got near closest by, and they'll stop listening to you.
So you have a very short amount of time to capture their interest?
Mm-hmm. And then you've got to go in ebbs and flows. So I've also done a lot of study with laughter and the connective and mental scientific benefits of it, and how to bring that in through improv techniques, through comedy techniques, and everybody has those abilities. Most people are like, I'm not a comedian or I'm not an actor, but I don't come at you teaching you specifically those skills. I interview each client or group. I do workshops as well, or I do corporate, go in there and figure out what they want, what you need, and then I put it all together, and I bring something that's very uniquely put, what's the word I'm saying, put together for you. That's such bad terminology. I just made myself like
You're listening to live radio here. This is our guest, Stephanie Paul. She is CEO and founder of Advance Your. So if someone isn't comfortable being that out of themselves, do you have techniques to help? Okay.
I basically teach people to connect to themselves and certain aspects of themselves. So it's not like, if you think about it, there's a thing called public solitude, and public solitude in an acting sense is explaining what it's like to be naked in your bathroom brushing your hair and to feel the same way on stage in front of an audience of 1,000. So there's so many techniques and ways to do that with people of varying levels, and to get them comfortable and relaxed and understand that it's not about them and them being perfect, it's about their audience and them connecting to their audience. And when you know that it's about service to your audience, it's a lot easier to let go of like, oh my God, my hair and my nails and I can't believe how I sound. Or it's kind of a very nurturing way that I go about it.
Sounds like it.
But everybody has that, and I'm very good at pulling out your uniqueness and your ability to connect your uniqueness.
So you don't have one formula that everybody fits into. It's really a customized program for the individual.
I have a bag of tricks of 24 years experience.
Okay.
And I've also been training and creating programs since I was 14 in the entertainment industry. So,
do you work with salespeople?
I do work with salespeople. Some of my clients are real estate people. I teach them how to use their phones and how to do their little videos and how to do their 30-second commercials and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, because it seems to me with the advent of social media and technology, more and more can be put on the web with video and compelling, and a lot of what your training would also translate to that medium as well, not just live in front of a group, but actually performing in front of your own iPhone. I can basically take one person with their phone and teach them how to use that, all the way through to the clients that have larger budgets and want to do more of a commercial aspect, whereas we create, advertise, do the pre-production, the production, and the post-production on a very professional video, and that's also on my website as well. Okay, because I've had other people on the show over the years who have said, it was just last week, we had a marketing expert in saying every company should consider themselves a publishing company now, that you have to be creating content. And I would think your training really supports that idea, because you got to be able to be interesting, whatever medium you're using to reach your clients. And
a lot of my clients are speakers, and I take one look at their scripts that they, I say to them, write out what you would like to say, because I know you're not going to memorize it, because most of them refuse to. Okay. Believe it or not, they're like, I'm terrible at that, but it's actually a muscle, just like going for a run. You can eventually run 10 miles. If you memorize every day, you can eventually memorize water coming down in other clouds. It's pretty easy. Okay. So I work with them and I figure out how to make it sound interesting and dynamic and put some jokes in there based on their personality. And quite often it's so easy. People are so funny themselves and they have no idea that they are. So what I get them to do is I get them to tell me this story that we have in front of them without being too technical. And as they go along, they always crack jokes throughout them just telling me, because they're comfortable in their living room or their office or wherever we're working, and I start writing down their jokes for them. And they've already created them and they didn't even know. Wow.
Well, what a great process that is. Yeah. All right. So we're going to take our first commercial break here on Critical Mass Radio Show. Stephanie Paul, CEO and founder of Advanced Your, is our guest. When we come back, I'm going to ask her to talk about her philosophy of mastery of the message. So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back after these commercial breaks.
Successfully navigating the changing world of public relations and digital marketing requires an experienced, tenacious, yet gracious team. In business for more than 20 years, Orange County-based T & Company delivers big agency results with personalized service. For more information, call us at 714-536-8407 or visit us online at tandco.me.
Imagine what it would feel like to lose everything. Your job, your home, your family, your dignity. This has happened to thousands of the men, women, veterans, and young adults we serve at Working Wardrobes. What do we do to help? We provide career development services, life skills workshops, job skills training. We provide the perfect interview outfit, and we get clients placed in jobs. Call Working Wardrobes, 714-210-2460. Donate, volunteer, invest, hire.
Today's businesses are embracing voice-over IP telephones and unified communication desktop technologies to more effectively communicate and collaborate with their customers, suppliers, and colleagues. The Reliatel management software from Tone Software Corporation helps organizations of all sizes manage their communications technologies to ensure great voice quality and better levels of service and reliability throughout their business. Through Reliatel, you'll gain higher return on investments from VoIP and unified communications technologies while lowering the associated operational support and maintenance costs. Learn more. Visit www.tonesoft.com or call 800-833-8663 for information on Reliatel by Tone Software, the solution for quality business communications.
Alrighty, welcome back to Critical Mass Radio Show. I am your host, Rick Franzi. Stephanie Paul is our guest, and I'd like to let you know that on Wednesday, February the 11th, I will be hosting the 1000th radio show interview show with our special guest, Wing Lam of Wahoo's Fish Taco. This event will be held at the Center Club in Costa Mesa, and as a listener to the Critical Mass radio shows, you are invited to attend. This event starts at 4:30 p.m. with registration and networking. The radio show starts around 5:30, and if you'd like to learn more and register, we'll visit my website, criticalmass4business.com, criticalmass4business.com. You'll see right on the homepage there's a big red banner that says register here. Just click on that and you'll be able to register. You're going to have the opportunity to hear Wing discuss the lessons he and his management team learned about business from the Great Recession, and you'll have a chance to network with Orange County business owners and executives. I'd really like to thank our gold sponsor, Tri-Circle Financial Strategies, for supporting our live radio show. Don't miss this milestone in Orange County broadcasting history, and join us for the celebration on Wednesday, February the 11th, for our 1000th interview show with special guest Wing Lam of Wahoo's Fish Taco. All right, let's get back to the interview with Stephanie Paul. She is CEO of Advance Your. We've been talking about a lot of different ways you're helping speakers and people to get their message out. Before the break, I said we're going to talk a little bit about your philosophy, mastery of the message. What does that mean?
Mastery of the message is basically how I help people connect. It's sort of instead of you say connection, it's just a little bit longer tagline. Okay. Everybody's got a message. Everybody has a message, whether it's their commercial message, whether it's their message to their children, whether it's their message to the neighbour who's got a barking dog. Everybody's got a message. And I really work from a place where you can say that in a nice way, and you can say that in an interesting way, you can say that in a funny way, you can say that in a storytelling way. We don't have to be mean to each other. And when I say that, I encompass commercialism, because that means pushing sales. You know those pushy salespeople. They don't have to do what they do, right? And that turns everybody off. And people who walk on stage with an agenda and sort of talk at you, not with you, and you don't feel that they're connected to you. You have that attitude. You don't know who I am. I don't necessarily think what you're thinking is true, or I don't believe you, or I don't agree with you. That's the wrong way to talk to people, in my mind, and people don't respond very well to that type of message. So I'm really coming from mastering your message is about coming from a place of positivity, and believing that you can actually do something good for the people you're talking to. You can inspire them or change their thought process in a positive way. That's amazing, because I've always marveled at people who can take a difficult subject, a difficult conversation, and overcome their nervousness about having that difficult conversation and do it in a way that's comfortable for both parties. Because you can talk about something really that could be emotionally charged, but if you take the emotion, if you have the skills to take the emotion out of it, you can make great progress, can't you? Yeah, I recently worked with an animal activist on TED Talks, or TEDx Orange Coast, and she really just dug her toes in. She did not want to put story in. She wanted to put really big, exploitive, like, photographs, and animals are being killed this way. And I said to her, you won't connect with your audience. Give me a really funny story that lets them know they can connect to you, that you're not out there just a screaming, ranting activist. Right, they can't identify
identify with you if you're that, right? Unless they are as well, maybe.
And she fought me all the way, but finally I convinced her to memorize the story or compact the story a little bit. And I rewrote it for her because she gave it to me initially in like 4 pages, and I put it down to a paragraph, which she didn't like because she thought, but you can, what people don't realize is you can tell a funny story in a full page, but you can turn it into a joke in 1 sentence, you know. And she eventually got up there and told the story, and she got off stage, and there were like 6 people that came running backstage. One was in tears. They were like, "Oh, your message was amazing. Thank you so much for connect." And she turned to me, and I just winked at her and walked away.
So is that an area for your business, working with speakers who are giving TED Talks?
Yes, I'm one of the coaches or the official coaches for TEDx Orange Coast, and I'm going to Iran in April for TEDx Kish.
Okay, so is that the first time we're doing a TED? They're doing a TED in Iran?
In Iran, yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. I had another gentleman, John Bates, on our show last year who had the privilege of giving a TED Talk in, in Yemen. Mm-hmm. So interesting how TED is really populating across the globe, isn't it?
It's fantastic.
So when are you traveling?
I'm going second week of April, around the 10th or 12th. Off the top of my head, I know I'm going in about 4 or 5 days before the actual conference. And it's the second weekend of April anyway.
That's powerful. TED, ideas worth spreading? Mm-hmm. Right, and so you're helping speakers. So if there's someone listening to this show live or maybe as a podcast on iTunes or Stitcher or somewhere else, and they would like to be someone who gives TEDx talks or TED Talks, sounds like working with you might help them prepare and have a better chance of being selected then too.
Certainly. There's stipulations. A lot of TED talkers or TEDx talkers are invited to speak.
Right.
But you can apply, and if they like your message, they will certainly heavily consider it. And, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So obviously, if I'm working with TEDx and I can put in a good word with you, and that's not the reason why you should.
That's not why we're not supporting that.
I'm just saying it's true.
Makes sense.
It's you're more likely to work with people that you like and know, and if somebody's put in the hard work, and I can say, look, I've been working with this person, they've got a really good message, they're under the guidelines of TEDx, they'll be considered more heavily than somebody who just puts in an application.
And doing a TEDx talk gets you an opportunity to be put on TED's platform and reach a global audience, which is ever increasing and accelerating. So there's nothing but good things that can come from that, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we're talking with Stephanie Paul. She's CEO of Advance Your, about all things kind of managing your message and communicating your message and mastering your message here on Critical Mass Radio Show. I understand you're doing a workshop in March. So for those that are listening to us live, or March of 2015, so in case people don't listen to it later.
Yes, March of 2015. It's a women's introductory workshop, and I'm sorry, men. I have had some complaints from the men, and I have been asked if they wear a dress, can they come? And I'm like,
wow. They really want in there.
They really want in there. But it's I just had a lot of women's groups that I've spoken to ask me to put something like this together. It's basically we're going to work on mastering your 30-second elevator speech, bringing your funny bone out, like how to bring your funny bone into the way you communicate with people, your confidence, commanding a room, being in the moment, how to sell and not tell how not to sell a story but tell a story. On-camera techniques, everything will be shot on camera, so everything will be analysed, and feedback will be given, and breakdown of what your message is. We'll work on some script writing for small messages. Okay. Obviously, I'm not in one day's workshop. I'm not going to be able to work on a 10-minute scripting, but know.
Is this here in Orange County?
It is here in Orange County. It's I have a studio at Marion Knott Studio in Palm Avenue in Orange. Okay. So that's where it will be. So if there's anyone that shows up with a picket line or something who's anti-messaging, please don't,
go somewhere else. Go to the beach. Cool. Chill out for the day.
And they can, if they're interested, women can contact me at info@advanceyour.org. And everybody asks me, why don't you have com or net? But that's because they're taken. Okay. So I can't have that.
Org, baby.
Org, yeah, org.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, that sounds like a great thing, and maybe you'll do it someday for men.
Oh, yeah, no, I work one-to-one with men all the time. A lot,
a workshop for us. Well, yes, you want a workshop too.
Okay.
Maybe later this year when you get back to Iran.
I'll definitely do a workshop.
Stephanie Paul, CEO of Advance Your. I like to ask guests about their guiding principle. And here on the show, I kind of think of that as your overarching philosophy for how you've built your practice, kind of your belief system that you put into your business. We call it your guiding principle. Would you share that with our audience?
I'd say that my guiding principle is something that I've kind of mentioned already, is connection. Connection's incredibly important because we've stopped listening to each other. Often people just sort of listen to reply and not listen to hear and really connect with someone. And people, they switch off. They don't make eye contact anymore, or they look at the ground, or they answer their phone, or they're making text message. And it's really not about listening to each other. And then you make mistakes. You make mistakes with the connection you have with that person, and you don't really take care of them or service their business, especially if they're a client of yours. So to me, it's about that. My philosophy is about connection and bringing that back. And very much when I'm working with my clients, I am very intense, and I have been told, you're intense. And through a lot of the acting techniques that I've done, I can see what you're thinking a lot of the time. Not when I'm working with a client, not with you right now.
You got me worried there for a second.
Because I did see the fact that you were like, what?
Well, I gotta wrap this interview up because the engineer told me you only have a minute left. That's what I was thinking. Damn, the bad luck.
No, but that's sort of where I work, is I teach people the connection aspect of it, and how to listen and how to understand, and also just like, what do you want? If that's what you want, then there's other people out there that want that too, and you've just got to connect with that and find that. So
if someone wants to connect with you and find you online, how would they do that?
They can go to my website, www.advanceyour.org, my Facebook page. If you Google me, if you put Stephanie Paul into Google, I'm the first 7 things that come up.
And you spell your last name?
Paul.
Thank you.
And Stephanie with a PH.
Right. I guess we should spell all of it then. Okay. So give me it from beginning to end. How do you spell your name?
Stephanie, second word, or last name, Paul, Paul.
You should do voiceover work, too.
I've done voiceover work.
See, we could get her on the commercials here for Critical Mass and OC Talk Radio.
I do about 13 different accents. So
really? Is this one you're doing now?
No, this is my New Zealand accent. I'm originally from New Zealand.
Okay.
So, yeah.
You never know. You might have been performing the whole show here.
I completely understand. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
I appreciate you being on the program, a friend of the show, a part of our community. We'll get you back sometime and talk about this more, okay?
Okay, cool.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our second commercial break here on Critical Mass Radio Show. Rejoyce Herbert is our guest. She is CEO of RNR Homecare. She'll be with us after these words from our commercial sponsors.
When it comes to pioneers in their respective industries, we all know the Apples, Starbucks, and Trader Joe's of the world. In the realm of recruiting, Decision Toolbox is the industry's best-kept secret. With 90% of their business from referrals and repeat customers. For over 20 years, Decision Toolbox's U.S.-based team of recruiters, sourcers, professional writers, quality personnel, and tech support has perfected a Six Sigma approach to talent management. No matter the size of the project, Decision Toolbox delivers incredible results. A cost per hire less than half of what contingency firms charge. With the winning candidate presented in an average of 14 days. All with a 12-month candidate warranty. With results like that, Decision Toolbox won't be a secret for long. Visit us at www.dtoolbox.com for more information.
If you are an Orange County CEO or a business owner, this message is for you. Do you ever feel isolated with no place to turn for advice or feedback? Who holds you accountable to your commitments in your company? Where do you find the right resources to help you and your company grow? If you have had these questions, then Critical Mass for Business might be the answer for you. Critical Mass for Business is committed to helping you make better decisions through the power of peer learning. These are groups of peers who are running businesses just like you. CEO Peer Groups provides a great sounding board to test fresh ideas and new concepts, review your strategic plans and tactical goals, and present issues and opportunities for a critical discussion. The result is improved strategy, accountability, and improved business results. If you are interested in learning more, go to www.criticalmassforbusiness.com and learn about our CEO Peer Groups. CEO Peer Groups is a registered trademark of Critical Mass for Business.
UPS Protection has been protecting systems in the U.S. against brownouts, blackouts, and poor quality power for over 25 years. We provide power protection systems, including UPS, lighting inverters, generators, and service for clients from coast to coast. We specialize in solving all your power needs. As a direct reseller of the best brands in the industry, including Liebert, Powerware, and APC, we can solve all your power protection needs. Protecting your power is our main goal. We offer on-site or depot repair of our critical equipment. To better serve your budget constraints, UPS Protection also offers both reconditioned and new products.
And welcome back to this edition of Critical Mass Radio Show. I am your host, Rick Franzi. As promised, Rejoyce Wilson-Herbert is in the studio. She's CEO of RNR Homecare Incorporated. And I'd like to let you know that on Wednesday, February the 11th, I will be hosting our 1000th interview radio show with special guest Wing Lamb of Wahoo's Fish Taco. This event will be held at the Center Club in Costa Mesa, and you, as radio show guests and listeners, are invited to attend. The event starts at 4:30 p.m. with registration and networking, and the radio show starts at 5:30. To learn more and to register, visit my website, criticalmass4business.com. On the homepage, you'll see this big red banner that says Register Here. Click that link, and it'll take you to our Eventbrite site where you can register to be a guest at the show. We'll be discussing, you'll have the opportunity to hear my discussion with Wing Lamb about the lessons he and his executive team learned about business from the Great Recession. And you'll have a chance to network with other Orange County business owners and CEOs. I'd like to thank our gold sponsor, Tri-Circle Financial Strategies, for their outstanding support of this live radio show. Don't miss the opportunity to participate in this milestone in Orange County broadcasting history, and join us for a celebration on Wednesday, February the 11th, for our 1000th interview show with special guest Wing Lamb of Wahoo's Fish Taco. Rejoice, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about RNR Homecare, kind of how it got started, what space you're in, and what makes your firm different in your industry. Why do clients do business with you?
Well, RNR Homecare, what we do is we provide non-medical assistance for people who need some help at home with their daily living needs. The home care services started out because almost 40 plus years ago, I entered the healthcare field, and my passion and my love for helping people was overwhelming. So I decided that I would continue that, and 40 years later, we started the RNR Homecare Services. And what makes us different from other companies is our investments are in our caregivers. Some people call them caregivers, care attendant, but the people who works with our clients in their home is the ones who we invest in to make sure that we're getting the quality and we're getting the kind of services that our clients deserve.
So your very specific niche is in-home care.
In-home care, yes.
And so tell me, it feels like that's a growing demographic? More and more people here in Southern California require that?
It is. And I have my stats here.
Well, let's get to that in a little bit. But I'm just saying that you've identified an area in healthcare that is a growing need.
Yes.
And you have a differentiated service. It sounds like that.
Yes.
And how do you maintain that level of standard when your people are out in the field every day in other people's homes? I mean, what is it? Is it the way you hire the employees that deliver the service? Is the way that you train them? What is it about RNR Homecare Incorporated that makes you different in the marketplace?
Exactly. You said the two most important things.
I did?
The way we hire.
I got lucky.
The way we hire and the way we train.
Okay.
I see every one of our clients as one of my family member. And when you look at it in that perspective, you take on a different seriousness about it.
Like it's your aunt or your uncle or...
Right. So because I've had so much experience in the field, we train our caregivers, not just in the hands-on care, but in also the personal part of that person's life, how they're going to behave, how they're going to interact with them, and even in looking at their religious beliefs, how our caregivers does interact and behave in those circumstances.
Because they're coming into the person's home.
Exactly.
That's a very personal thing, right?
Exactly.
It's not like you're coming to a place of business. You have to be very aware of where you are, aren't you?
Yes. And one of the key part of this is, we all make friends, but we all don't really click with everyone that we become friends with. So the most important part of what I do when I go out to meet someone who is interested in our services, I go out to meet them face to face so I can see personalities. I ask those questions. So if I can match the right personalities together, we have a successful team there.
So you actually do the interviewing of your clients in advance of deciding who in your staff is going to help them?
Yes, we do.
Wow, that's a very personal touch from you, isn't it?
Yes.
I'm talking with Rejoyce Wilson-Herbert. She is CEO founder of RNR Homecare Incorporated. We're talking about her business model and her experience. So you say you've been in the healthcare field for 40 plus years. Yeah, so you right out of grade school, you went right into it. Probably part-time job in high school. That's what you're talking about. I get that. Okay, I'm with you, sister. I'm
so young.
I know you are. You're like a kid. I'm talking to a young kid over here, ladies and gentlemen. But you have seen the healthcare industry change. But let's talk specifically about this aspect, the in-home healthcare. Was that even an offering when you started in this industry?
No. When I started in the industry, we had what we would call home health, which is a little bit of a difference that I do want people to understand.
Sure.
Home health is when you're providing medical care. And usually that is provided by a licensed nurse or a licensed professional. So when you are doing home care, you're taking care of medical needs. For instance, such as if the person needs to have surgery, those kinds of things, we do not get involved. G-tube feeding, we do not get involved because our caregivers are not trained.
Okay.
But we do the other hands-on things as far as companionship, as far as meal preparation, and comfort type of a care and for them.
Okay.
So that's the big difference between the home health, which sometimes our listeners may not know the difference. They all think you're in the same baskets,
right?
But it's a little different.
What if someone has, say they have a regimen of medicine that they have to take, prescriptions? Can your people help to ensure that they take the medication?
We have a guideline that they can make sure that they take that medication.
Because it's my understanding that many times part of the problem is when they send an elderly patient home, she or he may not stick to the regimen of what is prescribed, which then can cause them to have to revisit the hospital or just other problems. So it sounds like that would be a very big advantage if someone from your firm was there to help make sure that the person was doing what they were supposed to do at the time they were supposed to do it.
Yeah, that's one of the tasks and duties we do perform. We're making sure that they take it. We're not responsible for that medication, but we can make sure that they do take them.
Right. And so you're actually providing a level of support that sort of offloads the family members from having to do that as well, right?
Yes.
Wow. So your industry, we said it is growing because we have an aging population. From your projections and from what you see in this space, is it going to, are the needs only going to continue to grow for in-home?
Yes, the needs are going to continue to grow for in-home care because, as you said, the population, the elderly population is going to be at least doubled within the next 20 years. As you probably have realized and see, there is less children being born and more adults who are getting older. So we have generations that are coming up that are going to need the services that they didn't think about that a few years ago.
Right.
So definitely, it's growing. It's a growing industry.
So that's good news from an entrepreneur's perspective.
Yes.
But how challenging is it to find the right kind of people that want to do this work?
Very. And that is why when we get someone who would ask us about our industry or ask us about what we're doing, it is so important that we give them that information. And what R&R does best of all is inform, educate, and tell people what they need to know. In our industry, regulations are coming about.
Okay.
And that's another area that we want to make sure that the consumer is aware of what the regulations are for the state of California, what are the requirements, so that they can stay within those guidelines and have the proper care for their loved ones.
Is this a job, an entry? Don't hear this the wrong way, Rejoice. I'm talking with Rejoyce Wilson-Herbert. We're talking about our company, RNR Homecare Incorporated. But working for your firm, is it a way into the healthcare industry for professionals? You know what I mean? Is it a way for them to check if they want to continue to go on and get a nursing degree or other things and kind of do a different thing in healthcare?
Yes.
Okay.
I've trained caregivers who have become nurses.
Right.
Because that's one of the things that I encourage them. If you really love it, we want good people in the industry. So if you really love it and you really want to help, that's the way to go. And they have become registered nurses.
I would think that would be a great place to see if you really, because not everybody's cut out for this kind of work, right?
Right.
This is I think this would be very challenging, but very rewarding if your DNA is wired the right way.
Right.
Okay. So we're going to take our third and final commercial break. Yes, here on Critical Mass Radio Show. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want you to go anywhere, because when we come back, I'm going to ask Rejoyce to talk to us a little bit about the sandwich generation. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back here on the radio show after these words from our commercial sponsors.
Wow. Marketing predictions are out for 2015, and marketing success is changing. Did you know that Google is now actively tracking your business and personal brand and online reputation? Online and offline marketing has changed. Google is driving more than 85% of your traffic. And if your brand is inconsistent or has poor mobile usability, your rankings and traffic can suffer in 2015. To learn how your business is currently viewed and what can be done to improve your brand's visibility and authority, contact SunUp Group for a free marketing analysis. It could be a business game changer. Visit www.sunupgroup.com today or call 877-609-3840, extension 700.
Hey, did you know that over 73% of consumer packaged goods and retail products fail miserably within their first year? Why? Because they find themselves in the pit of unawareness. You don't want to go there. Call me, and I'll make sure that your packaging gets noticed. You know how I know? Because I'm the founder and creative director of MBN Design. We're one of Orange County's most established and trusted design firms. With over 20 years of experience, I can ensure that your brand will always stay new. Ask me how our packaging sold millions in months, or see for yourself other success stories on our website at www.mbndesign.com. We're MBN because we're making brands new. Call 714-458-8701 and talk to me, Hector Garcia. That's my cell, 714-458-8701. I'll be waiting for your call.
Commercial Bank of California, or CBC, is a well-funded, full-service bank located in the heart of Orange County. CBC is ranked in the top 6% nationally for financial strength. Commercial Bank of California was founded in 2003 by a group of Orange County's finest entrepreneurs. To this day, our bank is governed by our founders, including General William Lyon of William Lyon Homes, Alex Morello of the Morello Group, and Frank Willie of Fidelity National Financial, to name a few. In short, we are a bank founded, built, and run by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs. Not every business in Orange County should be our customer. However, if your business is looking for a bank that can assist in finance, production, analytics, and risk management, there's no better bank to choose. To understand the true power of how Commercial Bank of California can help you achieve your goals, give us a call at 714-431-7000 or visit us on the web at www.cbcal.com. Or at our new headquarters at 19752 MacArthur Boulevard in Irvine. Member FDIC.
And welcome back to this segment of Critical Mass Radio Show. I am your host, Rick Franzi. Rejoyce Wilson-Herbert is our guest. She is CEO of RNR Homecare Incorporated. On Wednesday, February the 11th, I'll be hosting our 1000th interview radio show with special guest Wing Lam of Wahoo's Fish Taco. The event will be held at the Center Club in Costa Mesa, and you are invited to attend. The event starts at 4:30 p.m. with registration and networking, and the radio show will start around 5:30 p.m. To learn more and to register, visit my website, criticalmass4business.com, and click the big red Register Here link, and it'll take you right to our Eventbrite site. You'll have the opportunity to hear Wing discuss the lessons he and his executive team learned about business from the Great Recession. You'll also have a chance to network with Orange County business owners and executives. I want to thank our gold sponsor, Tri-Circle Financial Strategies, for their continued support of the radio show and of our live events. So don't miss this milestone in Orange County broadcasting history, and join us for the celebration on Wednesday, February the 11th, for our 1000th interview show with special guest Wing Lam of Wahoo's Fish Taco. All right, Rejoice, before the break, as I was going to ask you to talk about the sandwich generation. Who are they, and why is it so important for middle market companies to help some of their employees plan for long-term care? So let's start with, who's the sandwich generation?
The sandwich generation is the group of individuals who are caring for both children and their parents. They're incredibly stressed and often struggle financially to manage it all. So long-term care insurance is a way to support services like home care and offset some of that cost. Should business have some sort of a health care policy geared towards this generation of employees? According to caregiver.org, there is a 68% chance that an individual over the age of 65 will become cognitively impaired or unable to at least to complete at least 2 activities of daily living, including dressing, bathing, or eating over his or her lifetime.
Wow.
To date, Medicare does not cover any home care services. So that is a cost that is come out of pocket for.
And it can be pretty significant.
Well,
not your service, of course. No, not your service. I mean, other services.
There will always be a cost because, of course, we have to employ caregivers,
right.
And so there's always going to be a cost. Home care is not as costly as if you were in a hospital, but, of course, there is a cost to it. Mm-hmm. But with assistance and help, if Medicare was to pay for some of these services, a lot of people could age in place, stay in their home, and do have a better quality of life.
Right. We talk about employers helping their employees plan for long-term care. Long-term care insurance, is that something that our CEOs of middle market companies should look at, not only for themselves but for their employees and for their executive teams?
Yes. Unfortunately, California is a little bit behind in the long-term care insurance business.
Wow.
Because we used to have long-term care back east back in the 80s. But it was not available here in California. Uh-huh. So I know now that the state of California do have some long-term care insurance that can be offered here. But still, there's so many of our elderly who are way past that stage.
It's like anything, too. The younger you are, the better off, the lower your rates to buy that kind of thing. If you're waiting until you're kind of almost needing it, the rates are going to be very high.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah,
exactly.
So plan ahead, ladies and gentlemen, and the listening audience. Rejoyce Wilson-Herbert is our guest. She's CEO and founder of RNR Homecare Incorporated. So, when you're talking to your parents about long-term care, so maybe some of the people that are listening to the show have elderly parents who are getting ready for that. That's always a difficult. You said something about being able to stay in place, not moving. That's a very big decision, isn't it, for most people about leaving? It seems to me that the quality of their life is changing when they think about leaving the home, maybe where they raised their kids. So being able to leave them in that home longer sounds like a more attractive alternative.
I do a blog on a weekly basis, and my blog this week is talking about the talk. As my father once said to me, once a man, twice a child. As our elderly parents get older, we, as the younger generation, including me, has to take over and make some decisions for them. So one of the things that we're finding is that the children have to stand up and say to their parents in such matters as the car. Is dad not able to drive a car safely anymore? That's where a family member has to step in sometime and make that decision. So as you can see, the talk is necessary. Planning ahead is necessary so that when we get to that stage, we already have our goals set up.
Yeah, because sometimes I don't know that the parents, even if they realize it, want to admit it because it means such a change in their freedom and quality of life in their mind to give up driving and move out of their home. And so being able to keep people in their home longer through things like home care that you offer is at least one less hurdle that you have to face all at the same time with your parents, right?
Yes, and being able to protect them also from them, from getting themselves in trouble because sometimes the memory is not as sound as it used to be.
Yeah, hey, watch it. Who are you talking about here? Okay, it's a function of age. Crystal, our producer, who's got that fine young mind, she can't appreciate what it's like yet, but hopefully she never will. I like to ask the question about guiding principles of our guests here. It's your philosophy of how you've built your business. We've been asking this question for the 6 years we've been doing the radio show, Rejoice. So if I ask you about your guiding principle, what would you say?
My guiding principle came from my dad, who is my hero. And my dad always said to me, the things that you want for yourself, offer it to others. And what I want for myself is to have a great life, a happy life, and to help others to the best of my ability. And that's what guides me every day. I wake up every day thinking, how can I make a difference in the life of one person? And if all it takes is to do a visit and put a smile on their face, it makes me feel like I have done what I should be doing on a daily basis. I love what I do. I have stuck to it for all these years, and I'm not stopping until I no longer can.
Okay, and that's going to be quite a ways off in the future. So tell me again what your dad said.
He said that the things that I want for myself, I should offer it to others.
Wow. I love asking this question because I never know quite what the guest is going to say, and I always get fascinated with the answers. So thank you for sharing that with our audience, Rejoice.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it. All right, so let's look back into the business and tell me about a current challenge that's facing RNR Homecare Incorporated and what you and the executive team are doing about that challenge.
The current challenge that we have right now that's facing all home care company is not every home care company is legitimate. There are home care companies who are operating outside of the boundaries of what the employment laws requires. And California is now putting some of those in place where we will be able to identify the legitimate company to make sure they're following all the laws and the rules and regulation. One of the things that is the cost of what these things provide. So I know that clients or family members who are looking for services, they would rather choose somebody who may be charging a lot less than we do. But what they do not realize, there is always a backlash, because one of the things that is required by the state of California is that all employees must be working on the workers' compensation, must also be working with a criminal background check if you're working with the elderly, and those things are sometimes not brought into view.
Okay.
And if a client would hire someone privately, we also pass this information on. They are going to be responsible for that person's taxes, workers' compensation, liability, and sometimes they won't find out until at the end.
Yeah, after the fact, and then they have a huge check to write, don't they? With penalties.
Exactly.
If the state gets involved.
So I want our listeners out there to know there is much more to it than just asking somebody to come and take care of my mom. Know what you're doing before you do it.
Wow, great advice. Because earlier in the show you were saying how regulation is just starting to come into your industry, and it sounds like prior to that, there were some companies that aren't operating maybe in the best faith of their clients.
Exactly.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. All right. So if someone wants to learn more about RNR Homecare Incorporated, How do they find you online? Where would they go? And
we are at rnrhomecare.com. And we are available 7 days a week, 24 hours a day to answer our clients.
Well,
potential.
I've enjoyed this conversation with you. Your passion for what you do is evidenced, and the richness with which what you've shared with us today is really very valuable to our audience. So, Rejoyce, thank you for being a friend of the program, and welcome to the Critical Mass community.
Thank you so much for having us.
Okay. And I have a question came in, R and R. It's R and R?
The letters R, the letters N, and the letter R.
Okay, so it's the letters.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. There you go. We want to make sure people can find you online, Rejoyce. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to wrap up the show. I hope that we've met our goal for this show, which is to help you, our listening audience of CEOs who are leading middle market companies, to improve your decision-making skills. This radio show is brought to you by our advertisers, Center Club, Community Bank, Decision Toolbox, Executives Unlimited, MBN Design, S&H Rubber, Strategic Market Intelligence, Sun Up Group, T & Company, Tone Software, Turn Up the Volume, and UPS Protection. Our engineer for today's show is Paul Roberts. Our producer is Crystal Nunley. Assistant producer is Amanda Pointer. Our guest coordinator is Kathleen Shepard, and our live events manager and producer is Asia Celestino. Melissa Padani handles our social media. Rose Chamora handles our sales. And I'm your host, Rick Franzi. If you'd like to learn more about Critical Mass for Business, visit our website, criticalmass4business.com. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm Richard Rick Franzi, Franzi. CEO Peer Groups is my Twitter handle. And type in your podcasting software these 4 words, Critical Mass Radio Show. Critical Mass Radio Show. You'll be able to get and subscribe to our regular updates, which we do at least 1 show a week, or this week we're doing 3. And so until our next show, I hope all of your business decisions will move your company in a positive direction.